Guys, Feisty Squishy has been unleashed once again. Let's get into this. Recently, Mr. Star and Sky reached out to the Disney Dreamlight Valley Gameloft team and asked basic questions about the operations behind this new wave of bans and account flags. In my opinion, the responses were nothing burgers that provided no solutions for players who are tired of grinding moving forward. I've seen other Disney Dreamlight Valley creators who are posturing, acting like everyone who plays this game should be perfect angels like them, and we should all collectively be diligently listening to and obeying the rules that almighty Gameloft sets in place. For a game that we have likely collectively invested hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars into as a collective player base, and we just have to meekly obey them and only play the game the way they want us to. I'm sorry, what? When the is a majority investor never had a say in the way a company is run? Or in this case, a game is developed. Gameloft loves kicking its cash cow in the face, and I don't know honestly how much longer the player base is going to keep standing for this. What Gameloft fails to realize is that they are punishing their most dedicated player base that above all odds are trying to find innovative ways to circumvent or speed up the worst parts of this game to get to the best parts of it. And in this way, the players have been telling Gameloft what they want for so long, which is easier accessibility to resources, and Gameloft is spitting in their faces in return. The game is flawed, and players are being punished because they're refusing to accept the game as it is in its flawed state at face value, and they're getting punished for it. These are the players that want to make the game better. They're seeing a different way forward so that they can enjoy the actual purpose of the game, which is to be able to design, craft, and decorate. Many of the responses from Gameloft so far have proved that the developers' attitude hasn't changed, and they seem bound and determined to be so myopic and short-sighted when it comes to their own player base. You know, the dedicated player base that are keeping their operations running. The people getting banned or flagged are the most dedicated players. It's logical to assume that players that are going through great lengths to obtain extra resources in the game are some of your most dedicated player base that are pouring hours into your game already. Many don't have that extra time it takes to grind for resources, nor do they want to or should they want to. I've never met a person who plays this game that has told me that grinding for resources is their favorite part of the game, and that the only thing they want to do when they play this game is grind for resources voluntarily, meaning of their own free will because they just love it so much and nothing else. Let's get down to the root cause, right? Gameloft is not addressing the core reason that people are so frequently turning to mods and treasure valleys, and to the scammy Etsy seller guys. The core reason people are doing this is because if you accept the game the way Gameloft has set it up currently, they make certain resources in the game ridiculously time-consuming to collect. If they made certain resources less difficult to obtain, people would be less inclined to fall prey to these Etsy item-selling scammers. Instead of addressing the root cause of the behavior, they're punishing players that don't have time but still want to play, which is literally like taking your core most die-hard players and then punishing them for being devoted. If they made every resource as easy to obtain as collecting wood in this game, I guarantee you that 80% of these issues with deviants selling resources on Etsy and other websites would be eliminated overnight. It's like Gameloft thinks that if they make obtaining resources too easy, that players will no longer play the game, and I don't think that this assumption could be farther from the truth. You know how I know this? I've done all of these things, except for purchase resources on scammy Etsy websites. So before this whole controversy began, I frequently visited a sweet gamer's treasure valleys that she likely ran with the use of mods and modding like modded resources. She was not a dark web evil deviant. She was a cozy gamer who loved interacting with other dedicated players and providing them with a way to circumvent hours of unnecessary grinding. She created a space where players could come together a few hours a day and chat together about the game, form bonds, friendships, and get the resources they needed. The environment was so cozy, relaxing, and I never met a disagreeable person in these chats. I've also downloaded the amazing mods for Disney Dreamlight Valley and have used them to duplicate resources. You want to know my experience of doing this? Contrary to what Gameloft probably thinks happens to players that have so much access to resources, I played the game more often. Before Treasure Valleys and mods, this game was dying for me. I had completed every quest and done every task in the game. I had dreams of fully decorating every inch of my valley, Eternity Isle, and Storybook Vale. But nothing made me want to turn this game off faster than remembering all the resources that I would have to grind in order to make this a reality. Once I had access to unlimited resources, I played this game at least twice as much as I used to. Instead of turning to other games, I would excitedly hop back onto Disney Dreamlight Valley because I knew I could easily make my dreams a reality in the game. As opposed to the past, when I would get on the game for 5 minutes, check Scrooge's shop, get excited to do an elaborate build that I had always wanted to do, and then remember I still had 100 more bars of iron that I needed to grind, close the game, and not get on for another week until the new premium shop dropped. If my own experience is any indication of what might happen to the collective player base when they have access to abundant resources, dedicated players who love this game will play much longer hours and more frequently if Gameloft can get their heads out of their rear ends long enough to realize that. I guess, in short, my main message to Gameloft is this. Listen to what players are telling you. Even if it's not directly through words, put your big brain thinking caps on when you see certain activities becoming incredibly commonplace in your players' community, and instead of punishing them for finding what's not working in your game, reward them instead by repairing and adjusting the imbalances that you created in the game. Let me reiterate, the scammy resource sellers on Etsy, these issues would not be so overly inflated if you just listened to players and adjusted the game to make resources more easily available for players. And with that, I will see you all in the next video.